Gore Nelson Gate. We got former White House Director of Communications Dana Perino, now with Burson Marceller. We got Fox News contributor Monica Crowley, who's been on TV about 18 hours today, and our Democratic strategist Mark Sawyer from Los Angeles. I will talk with the Democratic strategist first. So, is it embarrassing to you as a Democrat to have sort of seen this sausage being made? That's my metaphor for the week in getting this health care bill passed.
It's democracy at work. It's the legislative process getting together. I mean, we see this going on all the time. People have to get a bill. Senators have to get together. The lobbyists participate. You guys don't want free speech getting shut down, and that's how it goes. We're getting a bill,
but there's a difference.
Christmas won't be canceled. Everything will keep going on, and healthcare stocks are doing just fine.
All right, wait a minute. I heard this like 3 times today because healthcare stocks, somebody said hit a 52-year high. Well, it's actually 52 weeks. But that's the rationalization for the governor getting a free Medicaid play. That's the rationalization for $300 million to Senator Landrieu for Louisiana. That's the $100 million for a hospital for Chris Dodd. Now, come on. I mean, there's sausage. And Dana, help me out here. Is this the way 1/6 of our economy should be managed? 2,300 pages that no one's ever read?
Well, I agree with the Democratic strategist that we don't want to curtail free speech, but this isn't about free speech. In fact, part of the problem is this was done in backroom deals. And here's the thing that I think that they are underestimating. Remember in 2006, we had this earmark scandal.
Yes.
Everyone was
Bridge to nowhere, baby.
Earmarks. And the Republicans underestimated the public's feelings about that. And I think that the Democrats run the risk because their first defense was, well, everybody does it. Secondly, it was, I'm going to blame the governor of Nebraska. Today, he then blamed Harry Reid and said, well, I didn't actually ask for the whole thing to be funded. And blamed Harry. So I actually think that speech hasn't been curtailed, but people's rights, but people's feelings have been curtailed,
isn't this like
not
Ben
rights.
Nelson saying, the dog ate my homework, and oh, by the way, I'm going to go after this great governor who has a balanced budget, is doing everything we ask of and I'm going to go after him and make him a bad guy?
Right, it's so pathetic. And as Dana just laid out all of his excuses, which keep changing every day. Look, there are bills and then there are bills.
Right.
And in every single instance of sweeping social legislation in the history of this country, we have had widespread public support and also incredible bipartisan support, whether we're talking about civil rights, women's suffrage, Social Security, Medicare, No Child Left Behind. This is the first time where legislation that is going to affect every single American's life in the most intimate ways, your health care, is going down a strict party line vote. And to have it done with this kind of corruption, and it is corruption. This is not just regular horse trading for some random bill that nobody cares about. This is horse trading being done on epic levels. And yes, I do think it's tantamount to bribery. We're talking about a couple of senators here holding the entire country hostage.
Mr. Sawyer, I'll get to you in a second. But Governor, Dana makes an excellent point. She said that there's this fermenting outrage. In your state, the support for the health care reform bill is now approximately what?
67% of our citizens opposed health care reform, only 26% favor it, and I suspect those numbers would be even higher today in terms of opposition. They are outraged. They are furious about what's going on. They are very upset about this abortion funding compromise that Senator Nelson agreed to. We're totally opposed to that.
All right, well, Mark, listen, you get the floor here. I'm curious of a couple things. One is there's a political ramification here, but let's take politics out of this. We know that if we, had a tort reform in here, and we knew that if we tax employee benefits, and we know that if we actually, change the actual fundamentals of the system where we would actually go after fraud, that we could fund all of the stuff you guys want. Why did we never talk about that stuff, the really actual fundamentals, not just the icing on the cake?
Because you're delusional. None of those things would have any effect on helping healthcare costs. This is the Republican mantra all the time.
Wait a minute, I'm a recovering economist, Mark. I beg to differ with you, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm a political scientist, actually, not a Democratic strategist. Right. So, and economists are the ones who got it. Their models have been failed for a long time.
All right, Mark.
So there isn't enough waste, fraud, and abuse, and tort reform won't solve it. This is an incremental step towards getting a much fairer, much better system and getting some sensible regulations in there. Is it everything? Is it everything that I would want in a healthcare bill? It isn't. It isn't. Oh yeah, and certainly socialized medicine would be a much saner approach, like the rest of the modern industrial industrialized
UK
world
where
does. And it's not the first step towards the Soviet gulag that you guys want to suggest it is, right? The rest of the modern industrialized capitalist world decides to socialize their medicine, and it makes perfect sense.
Right,
We're not
and
even
all
getting
of their
anything
economies
close
are
to that.
completely
We're getting
depressed.
an incremental step just to sort of tweak our healthcare system.
Yeah, but
all
and
of
you
their
guys are running
economies are completely
screaming like
depressed, and
we're going to the Soviet gulag.
Well, I guess the Soviet gulag must have been the talking point Rahm Emanuel sent out today. But I will tell you this, that all of those economies that have socialized
I've never spoken to Rahm at
have
all,
moved forward to try to change their systems to be more like the one we have today. And in Britain, you pay an 8.5% tax to go towards the National Health Service.
Yeah, you gave me a number here. I was blown away.
This number is astounding.
So it's the largest. It's 1.6 million employees in Britain are just for the healthcare system.
30 million people.
So the size, smaller than the state of California.
It's the fourth largest employer in the world.
But Monica,
and that's why the people with resources in these countries that have socialized medical care, whether it's Canada or Great Britain, they all come here for their medical care because this is where we have the best care and the best innovation.
They don't all come here.
And if the Democrats succeed with this Senate bill, 80% of the American people will be covered by some government program between the expansion of Medicaid, between Medicare, and between these exchanges that, as Mark points out, are just the first step to public option and ultimately single payer. We will then have 100% of the American people covered by some government subsidy or some government plan. That is outrageous in the United States.
Well, you know, Governor, let me ask you this.
You know, as a progressive who doesn't talk to Rahm Emanuel, I wish that was the case. We're going to have your private insurers are going to be out there. Someone's going to be looking over their shoulder to make sure they don't tell you can't have cancer treatments when you need it. And that's going to be a good thing, and they're going to do something to control costs. I would love to have socialized medicine. It would be the best and cleanest system we could have.
At least you're coming clean.
Just like the rest of the modern industrialized capitalist world.
At least you're coming clean.
And it's not nearing any problem.
All right, now, Governor, you know, I want to wake up and look like...
And it's not what we're getting here. So,
but Mark, hang on.
I'm disappointed, honestly.
Governor, I want to wake up and look like, you know, I don't know, Brad Pitt, and you know, be 20 years younger, and I want to, you know, not pay the high-end taxes. But you talked about one of the things of this healthcare bill was the job killing, the idea that when you tax $500,000 and $1 million incomes, those are almost 75% are small business people, and that incremental cost plus the 8% plus the additional money on top of this will kill jobs at a time where we're at 10% unemployment. In Nebraska, is this going to help you or hurt you creating jobs?
The Nebraska State Chamber of Commerce has already spoken out against it. Over $500 billion in new taxes. You know, we're very fortunate in Nebraska. We have the second lowest unemployment rate in America at 4.5%. But we don't want this. The best thing that could happen to America right now would be for the Senate to adjourn, go home for Christmas, and listen to the American people.
All right. Well, Mark, I want to thank you for coming clear on how socialized medicine is your dream. Ladies, I appreciate
I wish we could have it, but we're not going to get it. We're going to get a nice private system.
You could move to Britain.
Go to Canada, by the way. You know, it's really, you know.
I'm a proud American. I love America.
All right, look, on deck.